Elohim Adonai, Lord, I praise you. Elohim Adonai, Lord, I praise you. Elohim Adonai, Lord, I praise you. Elohim Adonai, I will praise you. O Jehovah, my King, yes, I praise you. O Jehovah, my King, yes, I praise you. Lord Jehovah, my King, I will praise you. Oh, 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 oh. Good morning. Top of the morning to you. Oh, it's got some crazy. Look at that. That's amazing. That's like glowy. That's all glowy and amazing. Good. Guten Morgen. Hello. Yes, I'm already mixing up my accents and my. Oh, this beard makes me look fat. Good morning, children. Man, I'm in a strange place. I was in a delightful place of rejoicing yesterday in suffering, and I don't know, something clicked. There was yesterday was kind of a tough day anyway, but yesterday was like high highs and low lows, which is my favorite, so I shouldn't be want to complain. But and however, I'm also just I felt so broken yesterday, and I have felt so broken for years now, and I know that brokenness is indeed, in my brain, I know that brokenness is the best place for the soul to begin any journey, and that empty pockets make for a light load. But I just shed an attachment yesterday, too, that I think fed into my sorrowful joy or joyful sorrow. And it was a tough one because it's something I broke up with my improv group, Suddenly Dapper, and I've put a good year and a half. We all have put in a good year and a half, maybe a little bit more, of energy and power and intention and activity into this thing. And to set it aside was something I kind of had been shown or had seen that it was something I had to do, but nonetheless hard, because I put a lot of myself into it and enjoyed it, and indeed it does. It was a thing that rejoiced my soul and made me feel delighted and happy and all these things. But I'm winnowing down. I'm in that period of my life where I'm winnowing down and I'm chopping as many attachments as I can, as thoroughly as I can, because I'm kind of an all or nothing person. I was made that way. And so even doing that, I just feel I've been in such a long season of enrichment of the soul, but this dearth outside sometimes makes me be like, what am I doing that's keeping me so long in this? Or is this simply the way? I mean, the Israelites wandered for 40 years in the desert. I'm talking about 2 years. So, ante up, punk. And I was feeling kind of sorry for myself yesterday, and just low and weepy, and even though I have delightful opportunities all around me, and I was just like, Lord, but when? And again, this is always my hardest problem. The hardest thing for me to handle is patience. Patience in the Lord. Trust, no problem. Faith, really not much of a problem. But it's patience. Yes, Lord, I know you will do it, but when? Yes, Lord, but when? And he mostly chuckles at me. And he says, soon. And he says, it's even happening right now. I'm like, all right, but I don't see it. He's like, well, I do. We're like, great. But I can't really be angry with him because he's given me life, and he's given me life beyond life. So, and even more so, Romans 5:9, much more than being now justified by his blood, we shall be saved from wrath through him. I've been trucking through the Bible this year to try to get the whole thing, read the New Testament twice and the Old Testament through all the way, because the Old Testament's pretty long. And a lot of the Old Testament, man, is the wrath of God. And sometimes it's hard to take. You're like, this is some serious business. Now, I understand as a species,
how it kind of makes sense to our cultural evolution to kind of deal with human beings one way in a certain season. You obviously raise a child in a certain way when they are 0 years old. You raise a child in a certain way when they're 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Every year, I'm sure it changes. I don't have a kid, so I just sort of have watched others and been a child. And then at some point, when you're in your teenage and adult years, you parent in a totally different way. And we have grown as a species of made in the image of God creatures. And so, but the paradigm never changes. That which is good for you is good for you. That which is not good for you will induce wrath and sorrow and consequence. And this plays out in the parent metaphor, obviously, even when they're not in control of your life. If you are waylaid, hey, have you ever watched Intervention? See how it can go. But in a God paradigm, then that's God we're talking about, who actually has power and responsibility over all things. And we see this world is still a wicked world. Dude, it's a mess. We are making a mess. What are we on, like giant oil spill number 3 or 4 in the past 3 or 4 months, 5 months? We're making a mess of ourselves, of the place. It's all quite obvious what's going on. We can deny it in ourselves, saying, well, I'm not contributing to the problem. If there's a problem going on, then in some way you are likely contributing to the problem. Likely. I'm not saying definite for sure. Some of you may have found your way out of it. We are a problematic people. I am a problematic person. I put gas in my car, so I'm responsible for the mess too. And I'm responsible for my own mess as well. In myself. For the oil slick spread about my soul. But the blood of Christ is the cure-all, is the bacterium that eats up the oil, leaving the ocean as clean as it was intended. The blood, it's blood. Isn't that crazy? I mean, something like, for the longest time, we thought as a barbaric thing, but look to how many cultures have always known the power of the blood. Always. Around the entire world. I believe there is one God, holy be his name, Jehovah, Yahweh, Elohim Adonai. But I do not want to ignore indigenous wisdom in any way, and that is an interesting continued paradigm that has remained in us as a species, because there's power in that blood. And I'm telling you, all of that was waiting and pointing towards the moment where the Creator, the All-Father, would sacrifice of himself that we might see cleanliness, that we might be turned from that wrath to come. I do not have any interest in a God who delights in iniquity and wrath. That sounds horrible. In some ways, the opposite sounds horrible, because I know I am oft filled with both. And God hates sin. God hates iniquity. God hates the absence of goodness. God hates that which is not helpful to those made in his image. So I just exhort and entreat y'all to turn from it. Turn towards the purifying cleanliness of his blood. Though you may not understand it even this morning, to fall on your knees, to surrender all. It shall still be a struggle if you're still looking for fun and artistic struggles and something to fuel your fire. Your fire will be fueled, trust me. But to walk in the cleanliness of salvation, man, there is no greater ease to all troubles. Well, because it makes all your troubles worthwhile, too. Shoo. Peace be unto you. Amen. And Selah.